Companies Act, Section 378ZI, statutory requirement for maintenance and contribution to general and other reserves by producer companies. The Companies Act, 2013, as amended to incorporate provisions related to producer companies, lays down a comprehensive legal and financial framework for their incorporation, governance, and operation. Among its many regulatory provisions, Section 378ZI holds significance in ensuring the financial prudence, sustainability, and cooperative responsibility of producer companies. This section deals with the mandatory maintenance of a general reserve and sets out the conditions under which contributions towards such reserves are to be made, especially in scenarios involving financial constraints. This provision plays a critical role in strengthening the long-term financial resilience of producer companies and ensures that their cooperative principles are preserved even in financially difficult circumstances. Mandatory requirement to maintain a general reserve each financial year. 1. Maintenance of a general reserve. Under subsection 1 of Section 378ZI, every producer company is legally obligated to maintain a general reserve during every financial year of its operation. This is not a discretionary or optional practice but a binding statutory requirement applicable to all producer companies, regardless of their size, nature of activity, profitability, or geographic scope. The term general reserve in this context refers to a reserve fund that is set aside from the company's earnings or profits for strengthening the financial position of the company. It is not earmarked for any specific purpose but serves as a contingency fund to be used for safeguarding the company during unforeseen financial hardships, funding expansion or reinvestment, absorbing operational losses, or serving other general corporate purposes aligned with the long-term goals of the company. This reserve serves as a financial cushion that allows the company to navigate economic uncertainties, sustain operations during lean periods, and reinvest in member-centric activities that advance the objectives of the producer company. 2. Additional reserves as per Articles of Association. In addition to the general reserve, the law recognizes that a producer company may, through its Articles of Association, establish other specific types of reserves tailored to its particular objectives or operational needs. These could include a development reserve for reinvestment in agricultural infrastructure, a price fluctuation reserve to stabilize member income, a depreciation reserve for capital assets, or any other reserve for member welfare schemes. The maintenance of the general reserve is therefore not to be seen in isolation, but as a core component of a broader reserve strategy that may include additional reserves as provided for in the company's constitutional documents. In essence, the general reserve is a statutory minimum that cannot be dispensed with, while other reserves may be instituted through internal governance mechanisms. 2. Mechanism for contribution to reserve in the absence of sufficient funds. 1. Circumstances of financial insufficiency. There may be situations where, during a particular financial year, the producer company is not in a position to allocate sufficient funds from its income, surplus, or profits to the general reserve or other specified reserves. Such situations may arise due to poor revenue generation, adverse market conditions, crop failure or natural calamities, in the case of agriculture-based producer companies, or unanticipated expenditure. In these scenarios, where the company finds itself unable to contribute to its reserves at the levels required either by law or under its articles, a structured and equitable fallback arrangement is provided under the law to ensure that the reserve fund is not entirely depleted or ignored. 2. Proportional contribution by members based on patronage. In the event of insufficient funds, the contribution toward the reserves must be equitably shared among the members of the producer company, and such sharing must be done strictly in proportion to the individual members' patronage in the business operations of the company during that financial year. The term patronage refers to the extent to which a member has participated in, supported, or transacted with the producer company's business. For example, in a dairy producer company, this may mean the volume of milk supplied by a member. In an agricultural producer company, it may refer to the quantity of produce contributed. In other contexts, it could mean the use of the company's processing, storage, or marketing facilities. Thus, members who are more actively involved in the company's business and who stand to benefit more from its success are required to bear a larger share of the financial burden when it comes to contributing to the reserve in times of financial shortfall. This principle ensures fairness, transparency, and cooperative responsibility among members, which is the very foundation of the producer company model. This proportional sharing also helps foster a greater sense of accountability and encourages members to participate more meaningfully in the company's affairs, knowing that their patronage levels are directly linked to their rights, benefits, and obligations. 3. Purpose and broader implications of the provision. Promoting sound financial discipline within producer companies, ensuring the continuity of operations even during economically challenging times, reinforcing mutual support among members, and aligning the reserve-building process with the level of benefit derived by each member. It also ensures that the reserve creation is not neglected due to short-term financial stress and that the burden of reserve building does not fall unfairly on the producer company alone, but is shared proportionately by those who are most involved in its operations. Moreover, by mandating the maintenance of a general reserve every year, the provision helps producer companies maintain regulatory credibility and financial solvency, which can be crucial in dealings with banks, creditors, government agencies, and other stakeholders. For more details, contact us.